civil rights, but even human rights.
One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
And always feel that your life has ultimate significance.
The only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
Hi, good afternoon. This is attorney Todd Hollis from Todd J Hollis Law, and welcome to Civil Action. We've got on our show today a activist, someone who has decided to take his show on the road, and we have for you Mr. Tom Moran. Mr. Moran, how are you, sir?
I'm well. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, well, thank you for being a guest on the show. You know, here on Civil Action, we talk about issues and not necessarily popular issues, but issues that, you know, we deal with every day. And some of them are hard issues to discuss. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about you. I understand that you have decided to, in some ways, you know, take your activism show on the road. Tell me a little bit about what you do, and first of all, who are you?
Sure. Well, I'm 65. I'm a retired mail carrier, and then I was a school bus driver, but it's not safe driving a bus now. And I've been active since I was 17 against the Vietnam War. But I'm kind of reactivated right now with Trump in the White House. I'm trying to do some good visuals. That's why I make these banners. I hand paint them. And I bought a giant paper mache head a few years back. That's a giant Trump head. And my idea is you give the media a good visual and then you can get the message out. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to motivate people to think before they vote.
So your message is you want to educate people about the candidates, or you want to educate the people about a particular candidate?
Well, I want Joe Biden elected. Trump's a threat to the nation, I believe.
Why do you believe that?
He's fanned the flames of racism. He brings out the worst in people. His character is lacking. And I'm an old white guy. Most of my old white friends are Trump supporters. But I do know a lot of people that last time didn't think it made a difference, and it does. So what I tend to do is look for the weakest link. And I think his weakest link is the coronavirus, because he has so mishandled it. We're having nearly 1,000 deaths a day. So that's my focus.
So let me ask you this. How has the fact that you support Joe Biden affected your relationship with your friends who you say the majority of them are Trump supporters?
Well, I'll tell you first about my wife's family. They cut off relations with her. There's no contact. She sends birthday cards. They're all Trump supporters. They're in Michigan and Ohio. My friends, a lot of them were Bernie Sanders people. They came around. The people I worked with driving a school bus, they're all Trump supporters. It's a rural area that I drove a school bus in, and they tended to vote Republican, and that's the end of the story. And some of them were pretty hot-headed.
Why do you think that is? I mean, we've heard all, you know, we've all heard the news stories about the collusion with Russia, the things that he said about women, you know, how he's treated, you know, immigrants who are coming to the country. I mean, notwithstanding all of that and many more that I haven't mentioned, you know, why do you believe that, you know, these people that you once knew as friends still feel so ardently firm about their support of Trump?
I'll tell you what one guy said, and he was a decent guy. He told me he wasn't comfortable with the way things were. He said, "This isn't the country I grew up in." And I understand what he means. It's changed, but change isn't always bad. But I think he doesn't feel the way it was in the past. If you were a white man, you ran the show. Your wife did what you wanted. She stayed at home. She didn't work. Power relationships have changed. And I think people feel threatened by that.
That's a good point. Threatened in the sense that what, they're no longer in control?
They're no longer in charge. They get questioned. And I got to admit, I mean, we all learned from our parents. My dad was a Democrat. My mom voted for Hillary Clinton before she died, and she didn't live to see the election, thank God. But my dad tended to run the show, and he was a hardworking guy. My mom didn't question him very much. My wife now, it's all different. She's an engineer. She went to the University of Michigan, as did I. She's well educated. Her income's better than mine. I'm not threatened by that. Her independence is good. Sometimes, though, I have to admit, she'll challenge me, and I say I like to be challenged, but sometimes I have to work on it.
So you think that the support of Trump really is just you support Trump, that they believe that somehow or another they want to get back to what, to what they knew when so-called white America was in control? That's
part of it, but there's a darker side too. And it's not all of us supporters, but there's a darker side.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, I will. I went to an event with Kid Rock and Donald Trump Jr., and it was in Macomb County, that Bellwether County. And I arranged it so I'm safe. I ran a pickup truck, and I have a giant display of the Trump head in the back, and banners, and my sign with the COVID death toll. And it was a narrow street, a lot of people on the street. And after I had driven by 5 or 6 times, and I'm not there to tick them off, I'm there to get media. I'm there to reach people that the media can reach out to. But they were sticking bumper stickers on my truck. You can see one there. They didn't like the word dead. All the people that died because of Trump's mismanaging the virus, so they covered it up. They were sticking them on the side of the truck, and you don't mess with people's trucks. They should know that.
Right.
So I took it for a while, but after about the 5th time driving by getting those stickers on, I stopped my truck and I got out, and I'm not sure what words I can use. I yelled, "Get the F away from my truck." And I think they were surprised. And I got back in and I went down the street and removed them. So they try to intimidate people. And I know a lot of women are afraid to go to events to protest and support someone against Trump because they intimidate women more than me. I mean, I'm not looking for trouble. I'm looking to reach out to people, and I go to where the media is, and they're at these events. But I take my message and I try to do it in a safe way. But I go there. I mean, you can do it. You got to use your head, and it helps that I'm an old white guy. I know that. That helps.
Well, let's talk about that. So you decided that you were going to sort of take your show on the road. You rent this van. You make huge signs, right, in support of Biden. And you decide that you're going to go to these Trump events that going into them that there's a potential for violence and intimidation and maybe even possible, consequences with law authority, right?
Well, I check them out pretty well. The truck's safe. The main thing I'm worried about now is the virus. I'm not afraid of people. If I work with the virus, it wouldn't be a problem for me. It helps that there's media there with cameras because that kind of tempers people's reactions. The one that you're showing on the screen now, there was a smaller venue I just went to in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, where Donald Jr. was. And the town was a smaller town, 20,000 people in Johnstown. I figured people would have small town values. I grew up in a small town in upstate New York, and they don't get as hot when Trump himself isn't there. So things went pretty good, but I do say at one point, a guy came up to me towards the end of my time there, and he said, "Get the F out of town." And he starts to grab the banner and pull it away. And I said, "Hey, it's a free country." And then something surprising happened. A younger fella that I didn't know supported my message. He took his shirt off and he said, "You leave him alone. You want to mess with me?" And the other guy, who was pretty portly, he backed off. But the cops didn't come. They weren't interested until they saw there was going to be a fight. They didn't do anything to protect me.
That's interesting. So I guess I'm impressed with the fact that one, this is something that you're very passionate about, and two, you decided to do something about it. How did your wife feel? I mean, obviously you're taking this journey. She knows that there's a high potential for confrontation. Was she at all concerned?
Her big concern is the virus. She asked me afterwards, did you come in contact with people, close contact with people? And I hadn't. I wear my mask.
Mm-hmm.
When they were yelling and when they were trying to antagonize me and egg me on from the lines, I ignore them. I don't engage. Nothing good comes out of engaging with a Trump supporter. Nothing. The worst thing can be violence. It'll get filmed. I want my message to go out. I only go there because the cameras are there.
Well, that's certainly a good motto to learn from. But let me ask you this question: how many African Americans did you see at any of these events that you've attended?
Not many. A few. Not many. The thing, that picture there you're showing now, that was at the Macomb County rally with Kid Rock. They were packed in. They weren't wearing masks. Mostly old white guys, some women, Confederate flags, and then they glom on to the thing about respecting the police. I think when I say they kind of attach themselves to that, I think it's more a way for them to approach keeping people down. And not every Trump supporter believes that, but it's convenient.
When you say keeping people down, you mean keeping black people down?
People of color, poor people. I think I don't blindly support anybody. I want to look at the facts. I want to see what happened. And I understand, even from my limited background, I understand that people in poorer communities are hurt and are arrested and harassed more by the police than I would be. I know I can get away with things that other people couldn't.
How many rallies have you attended? Where do you intend on going, in the future?
Right. Well, my big thing
what were your experiences?
Debates. There's a debate Tuesday in Cleveland. So I've got the pickup truck now in the driveway. The Trump head's going to be mounted in it. And I've got the banners I'm going to attach, and I had to update the death count to 203,000. And I've got the big flags riding with Biden. And I'll say one reason I ran a truck is they tend to respect trucks. And for them, a truck is Trump truck. But I don't run a little truck. They have little trucks. I ran a Ram 2500. My truck's bigger than theirs. And to them, size matters. It might sound silly, but it does.
Well, apparently it matters to you too, right?
Well, I'm trying to get the attention, and I'm trying to be safe. And before the debates, Trump's going to be in Harrisburg, so I decided to add that onto the trip. So we're driving to Harrisburg. When I get done with you, we're heading to Harrisburg. He's going to be at the airport there tomorrow, and we'll be there from, say, noon to 5, driving, hoping to get some interviews in the cell phone lot. And we'll be gone by the time Trump comes out. That's something else I do to stay safe. I get there early, and I leave before it gets too crazy there.
So I've got 2 minutes before our show ends, but let me ask you this. What is the message that you hope to get across to people who are watching this video and this interview?
My message is you have more power than you realize. Be active. Get some good visuals. The media will cover you with good visuals. Be safe. Think about a way to do something and be safe. The giant Trump head I have there, I paid a man to make that out on the West Coast for me. It's a good visual. A camera can't resist it. So they swing over to cover the head, but I don't just let them film the head. I have my message there too. Be safe, be early if you're going to events, and bring a friend.
Do you have any social media sites that people can visit to see pictures or to support you in your message?
We do have a website from the 2016 campaign, gianttrumphead.com. It's all one word, gianttrumphead.com, and it shows most of our efforts from 2016. The money I'm using to pay for this, I made from my school bus driving job. I have hobbies and I have passions, and this is my passion.
Do you have a PayPal account or a GoFundMe account or anything that people can?
There is a GoFundMe account if people wanted to. I'm not looking. I mean, if you wanted to throw in a few bucks, I wouldn't complain. I got a diesel today and it burns more fuel. And it's
I will certainly support you.
Okay.
What is your GoFundMe account?
Yeah, it's called Send Tom to the DNC and the Debates. My first name's Tom. It's Tom Moran. Send Tom to the DNC and the Debates. Oh, and I'm going to Nashville too, October 21st. So
okay, say that one more time just so we get it.
Send
the GoFundMe
Tom.
account.
Yeah, the GoFundMe is Send Tom to the DNC and Debates. And
okay.
I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything you've done to help me out in Pennsylvania.
Well, listen, I can't think of a more worthier cause. I certainly would never think about charging you a dime, for all the great work and all the great things that you're doing to support democracy here in our country. Anything that I can do from a legal standpoint, you have my cell phone number. You know that all you need to simply do is give me a call. And we'll put our resources to work for sure. I want to thank you for the time, Mr. Moran, that you've given here today. I know that there's a lot of other places that you could have been. I wish you success in your oncoming efforts. And for all the viewers, please go check Tom out. If you've got a few bucks and you want to support his cause, please certainly do so. What he's doing is helping our country. Tom, again, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Okay. Thank you. And Pennsylvania is going to be the key. So make sure you vote and vote as early as you can. All right. Well, that's all we have here today from Civil Action. I realize that there are many places you could have been, but you're right here with me, and I appreciate it. Have a great day.
We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. And it is because of our